All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Conflicts of Life. Yes, this is your boy Pat Murphy, and I know you guys are looking for Miss Nancy, but she's not feeling well today, so please keep her in prayer so that she can feel better. But anyway, we're going to continue with the show today, and I wanted to talk to you guys and continuation of the prior show that we did. And again, I know the pretty Miss Nancy is not here right now, but again, she's not feeling well today. So again, keep her in prayer. All right. So the last time we talked about relationships and how do you fall out of love, and so we're going to continue with that conversation today. Please have something to write with. I'm going to give you some very, very important information, and I really want you guys to really take some notes on this one, because this is really going to help you to develop your relationship and kind of anti-divorce proof it. Okay, anti-divorce proof it. Even if you are not married, it helps you to avoid breaking up. Okay, so again, good morning to everybody, and again, pray that she feels better. But we're going to continue on. All right, here we go. So today we're going to talk about a couple. We're only going to cover three things at a time. Okay, because there's several of them that we have to cover, but we're only going to cover three of them today. Okay, not to overwhelm you. What's up, China? What's up, Edna? Good morning, everybody. So here we go. Number one is magnifying insecurities. This is a big one here. Magnifying insecurities. Let me read this to you, okay? Good morning, Millie. What's up? What's up? What's up, family? All right. When the love part vanishes, the truth of who we are starts to play. Did you hear that? When the love part vanishes, the truth of who we are starts to play. We begin to feed off each other's insecurities. Woo. Jealousy starts to play a role in the relationship because we feel invisible. We begin to notice that our partner starts to behave differently with others. It's not that he or she is cheating. It's that we want to feel like we used to in the beginning. His insecurities, pay attention to this, his insecurities are passed on to you. Her own issues begin to play a huge role in how he reacts. It's a constant battle of self-worth and acceptance. The best way to move past this is to discuss the issues without blame or criticism. This is a huge one, and I wish Miss Nancy was here for this one, because we both went through this stage where we had to deal with our insecurities in the relationship. Because oftentimes you can do, and I want to congratulate a lot of you guys out there who's trying to do the self-development healing work before you get into a relationship. But let me tell you at the same time, even though you've done the work, there's still going to be other undiscovered issues that's going to pop up in a new relationship. I'm going to tell you that, because you can work on the things that you're aware of, but oftentimes some of the other issues that you're not aware of that you have to deal with will pop up when you're in connection with somebody else. So this was a huge one for us. So let me give you an example. We often had many, many insecurities due to the pain and experiences that we went through from our last relationships. And because of that painful experience, we worked on as much as we could on our own. But oftentimes when, we entered into our relationship together, there were certain mannerisms that I didn't realize at the time. There were certain mannerisms that's just a woman's type of mannerism, but it was resembling my ex. And so therefore, when I seen that behavior come up, man, that I were, you can understand. And the same thing with her, because of what happened with some of her past relationships that didn't go right and the way that they treated her, there were certain male tendencies that I was just being a male, but I wasn't aware of how it was affecting her. And so therefore we had to sit down and talk about these issues, because at first, remember I told you guys for the first year and a half, we was talking about divorce all the time, all the time, all the time, because we were so hurt to the point where, you know what, the first thing that we thought about, look, let me get out of this situation quick before I don't want to deal with the kind of pain that I dealt with from the last situation. So let me just cut this thing quick. Okay, so we were quick to try to hurry up and just end the relationship because we was unaware of this knowledge that I'm sharing with you guys today. And again, some of you guys who's tuning in late, I know my better half is not here. She's not feeling well today. Please keep her in prayer so that she can be perky and back up and running next week. And because as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm finna go make her some breakfast and stuff like that and take care of her. So keep her in prayer, okay? And send her your wishes, all right? Your love, rather. So going back to this, so what we had to do, we had to sit down and go watch. Whew, please write this down. I'm going to give you guys a recipe to help you with this one, okay? Everybody has insecurities because here's one of the things I hear all the time. They so insecure. But that's true, but so are you. Because oftentimes we acknowledge other people's insecurities, but we're slow to understand that we have insecurities of our own that we haven't dealt with. We're always good at inspecting other people, but we're very poor in inspecting our own behavior. So when you enter into a relationship, oftentimes the baggage from the past and the people who hurt you in the past, you're very skeptical in this area when you enter into another relationship. So let me give you the recipe of what we did. Now, this is not the be all end all, but this will bless some people. So write this down. One of the things that we did very well by God's grace, nobody taught us this. We had to discover it on our own. But here's what we did. Okay, here's what we did. We spent a lot of time going on dates. But what we did was we wasn't just trying to figure out, okay, how can we have fun? What is the best meal? We would sit down and talk about how each of us grew up. Oh, that is so key. Because a lot of your perceptions about relationships today have been developed based on what you experienced and what you were taught when you were growing up. And my friend Larry Bellotta, if you look on YouTube, he has a series of videos, very, very popular guy, very, very knowledgeable. He talks about by the age of 10. By the age of 10 is when the synaptic connections in the brain and all these other things that happen is there and in place. And now you have been instilled with a particular knowledge based off of what you were taught and based off of what you saw growing up. And that is what helped develop your ideology about relationships. And then you add on top of that recipe that the experiences that you had in these past relationships of hurt, pain, lying, cheating, and all these different things, you can clearly understand how a person can develop insecurities. Okay? And therefore, you have to go back to the origin of where you learned this stuff to begin to unpack some of the baggage that you've collected along the way. And so what we did was we would sit down and just talk about how we grew up. We talked about our childhood experiences. We talked about what we saw as far as our parents' relationship. Because oftentimes you've learned, and you didn't even realize it, you've learned about relationships based off of what you saw from your parents. And especially if it was a dysfunctional relationship. Did you hear what I said? If it's a dysfunctional relationship that you saw with your parents, it makes it even worse because in the synaptic connections of your brain, somehow certain traits have been picked up and considered as normal. Even though you know on the conscious level it's not normal, but on the subconscious level, it became normal. And this is why, let me give you an example and we'll move on. Have you ever noticed that you'll talk to a person who's been in an abusive relationship and they hate being in an abusive relationship? When they finally get done with that abusive relationship, they end up back in another. And you say, well, how did you end up back in another? Because the subconscious mind have connected dots together. And sometimes it was based off of some things that they saw growing up, where their mother or their father was abused. And it became normal for them, but they don't know that there's a program running in the back of their head that's telling them this is normal. This is normal. So now when they get in a relationship with you, they have all these insecurities. They have all these different blocked up feelings that needs to be released. And now when you try to love them through it, they just blow up on you. They just go off on you real quick. Well, that's because of what they've been through and what they were taught. So what you have to do is slow down the relationship and go back and, hear me good. You have to go back and not only love the adult version of the person, you have to love the child version of the person as well. Oftentimes, when you talk to adults, you're really not dealing with the adult version. You're actually dealing with the hurt child that never got a chance to voice its opinion. But now that it's a grown adult person, the child is speaking up through the adult. And you say, well, they're so immature. No. I prayed about this a long time ago. And the Lord gave me some wisdom on this one. Very powerful information. And thank God for those who's tuned in today and those who'll be watching it later. Here's what he told me. He said, Pat, you know, a lot of times when people say that people are immature, he said they're not immature. He said they're incomplete. Please write that down. They are not immature. They are incomplete. What incompleteness looks like is this. Some of the phases that you typically would go through when you're growing up as a child in a healthy environment, you typically move from mentally, not physically, because your body can grow old and you can still be young and dumb, okay? But here's the point. The point is mentally, you're still trapped in that childhood issues. You're still trapped in that childhood experience, but now you're experiencing it through an adult version of the body. So the mind and the emotions have never caught up with the age of the body. So now the body is in its 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, but yet the mind is still mentally trapped in the emotional experience of that 10-year-old child who was abused, or that 10-year-old child who saw all that abuse and chaos going on in their home. And now this adult body is entering into an adult relationship with a 10-year-old hurt mentality, and therefore you can easily see why the person is constantly lashing out all the time. You can see where the person's insecurities are coming from. It is not necessarily the adult version of the person. You have to love the adult version of the person, but you also have to discover the child that's still trapped in that adult version of that person as well. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm telling you. I'm giving you guys some nuggets. Let's get to this next one. This next one says, boredom sets in. Here's another big one. Why do people fall out of love? And again, I know we got people who are still tuning in late. And I know you're saying, well, where's Nancy? She's not feeling well today. Keep her in prayer, okay? All right, so let me go to the next one. Why do people fall out of love? So today we just talked about magnifying insecurities. Everybody has them. You just have to sit down and talk about them and be totally honest with your partner on the origin of where your insecurities came from. When Nancy revealed to me some of her insecurities, I then took it upon myself to make absolutely sure that I monitored my behavior not to reinforce the pain that she went through, and vice versa. She did the same thing for me. So we're real careful and how we deal with each other, because we realize, hey, I'm not just dealing with a grown man. I'm not just dealing with a grown woman. I'm dealing with a grown man, grown woman, and a little boy and a little girl all at the exact same time. There's not two people in your relationship. There's actually four. But it's just you only get to see the adult version. But I promise you, the engine that's running the mind and the emotions is oftentimes the little kid too. All right, let's go to the next one, which is boredom. This is a big one in relationships. Let me read you this knowledge. April Mancini, the relationship author of Romantic Date Ideas, says, over time, people can change, or more often, watch this one, they become who they really are. Someone who loved his steady business career may suddenly realize he always wanted to be a stand-up comedian and throw caution to the wind to chase his dreams. Ladies, pay attention to this one. I'm going to dig into this one. Ladies, pay attention. I'm going to dig into this one. Okay? Because a lot of times you'll be with a guy and he says, well, you ain't support my dreams. Or he'll come off the cuff with a brilliant idea. And you'd be like, we got to pay these bills. And you ain't supporting me. That argument happens all the time in relationships. Okay? Watch this. The kind of change that leads to love loss is always about a buried desire to be someone that was repressed on the inside. Let me read that again. The kind of change that leads to love loss is always about a buried desire to be someone that's repressed inside. It's important to really know your partner to avoid this love loss syndrome. A way to avoid this is to be open and accept your partner's choices in what makes him or her happy. Changes are supposed to happen in relationships. Did you hear that? They changed. As soon as we got married, they changed. They were supposed to, and so were you. Let's keep going. Changes are supposed to happen in relationships. You must go with the flow. Otherwise, boredom will extinguish the flame that was once the reason you fell in love. Here's what they're saying here. Oftentimes, what we do, and this is ladies and gentlemen, hear me good on this one. I promise you this is a nugget, a golden nugget. For those who tuned in, thank you for listening, because I'm going to bless you with some information that you need to know. Here's something that I'm constantly trying to talk to people about. Don't ever rush into a relationship because you think they're cute or this or that, that and that. You better get to know what their real dreams, goals, and visions are. Because when you're connected to them, you're also connected to their passion. And oftentimes you realize, and you hear this when people are breaking up or going through a divorce, oh, we just grew apart. Oh, we just, we just had different interests. Exactly. That's the point. That's why it's so important to figure that out in the beginning. Before all this romantic and the sex and the beauty and the this and that don't matter towards the end, because at the end of the day, the person has a particular set of desires and goals in life. And if you're not compatible in that area, then you have no business being together, because ultimately once the beauty wears off and the cuteness wears off and the sex and the passion wears off, at the end of the day, you're going to be connected to a person who's going to expect you to help them move forward their vision, their dreams, and their passions. And if you have no desire to do that, you have a fight on your hands and ultimately a broken relationship. Because what's going to happen is the person or you're going to get bored with this person, because guess what? We don't have anything in common anymore. You hear that all the time. You must begin to date the person's dreams and visions as well as the person. Get to know that part of them too, because that's going to have to be a part of your world now. And if that's not what you want, don't rush into that relationship, because you're just going headlong into a chaotic situation. Or maybe you are a person who wants to be an entrepreneur or something of that sort. You need to be with a person who understands what entrepreneurs are. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this, and I did some research on this. Do you know that out of all the category of people who get divorced, do you know who has the highest rate of divorce? Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs. You want to know why? Because oftentimes people with high passions and dreams and this and that, they get connected to a person who just wants stability. And if you want stability, you want to avoid dating an entrepreneur, because they throw caution to the wind. They're not concerned about stability. They're worried about fulfilling a passion and a dream, and we can do it. We can do it. Meanwhile, the other person is, no, we ain't doing this and that. Let me give you an example, because this is real life for me. I had to grow up in this. I will never forget my dad. My dad had a passion for real estate. Okay, big passion for real estate. And mind you, I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters, so there's 9 of us plus mom and dad. All of us living. That's 11 folk. Okay, but my dad had a dream to be in real estate when we were growing up. This is true. And so I'll never forget my dad. He would drive around, look at properties and this and that. And that was when properties was dirt cheap. Okay. So my dad bought not only did we have the house we grew up in, but my dad bought the house next door as well, and he used it as rental property. Oh, not bad, huh? So you would think that my mother got the idea of what he was trying to do, because guess what? Not only are we growing up in the house we're in, but we also grew up in the house. The house next door was used as rental property, so she can literally see that it was additional income. So my dad wanted to expand his real estate empire. My mama wasn't having that. Because she was looking at, okay, we got 9 kids, 11 of us, and this and that. And so there was constant friction. And do you know, my dad was never able to fulfill his dream. Never was. And my dad was not an argumentative person, but I can tell my dad died on the inside with his dream. Because my dad finally passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately, and my mom passed away too. But I know that my dad died with a broken heart, because I know he had passions and dreams that he wasn't able to fulfill. And at that point, he just lost desires, and he just accepted normal. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? Here's another thing on this boredom one, and we're going to go to this last one that we need to cover today. On boredom is this. Boredom is basically you've gotten into a situation where your passions and your dreams and your visions are no longer compatible with the other person. This is easily fixable, because do you realize there's enough room for both of you guys to follow your dreams and passions? There's more than enough room. You just got to have a talk about it, set a budget aside for both. And ladies here, I remember I told you I was going to talk to you about this. You're going to hear a lot of men say, yo, she ain't supporting me. She ain't supporting me. ladies, be careful before you jump in relationship with guys who says, oh, well, I'm finna do this and I'm finna do it. Okay, that's cool. Make sure that you have the ability to come alongside and support all those changes that happens. That's why the Bible talks about it in Genesis. It says he will provide a help meet. The word help meet in Genesis, when it talked about God creating an Eve for Adam, the word help meet means capable partner. So are you capable of flowing with a guy who can change like the wind? If that's not your thing, don't date him. Don't even start. Okay? Gentlemen, let me say something to you, because a lot of men are very selfish in this area. Okay? You always want her to support your dream, but you never asked her about hers. And you're wrong for that. Your dreams are important, but so is hers. Why don't you stop trying to force her to support your dreams and never even asking her about hers? I'll leave that one alone. Let's get to this last one and call it a day. All right, this last one. This is a good one. What happens when the attraction is gone? Some of you guys, you've been in a relationship and you're no longer attracted to each other. Let's cover that one and we'll be done for today. What kills attraction? The inability to have fun. You fall in a rut and can't get out of it. You stop going out on date nights or doing special things for your significant other. Most times it has nothing to do with physical appearance, but the things that go unsaid or undone. You fell in love with that person for many reasons. It's about revisiting those parts of the relationship. Attraction is ignited through appreciation and compassion. Did you hear that? It ain't just about how fine she is. It's about, let's read it again. Attraction is ignited through appreciation and compassion. This goes back to what we were saying. When a person does not feel appreciated, they no longer feel attracted to the person. Did you hear that? If I don't feel appreciated by you, I don't give a darn how fine you are. I don't care what you look like, because you're killing my spirit. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So attraction is not just about how you look in the relationship. It's about how you treat the person in the relationship as well. But I will say this, let's not discount looks. Here's a big one. Here's a big one. Ladies, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. And I don't care how many people disagree with me, but you know what? My job is to tell you the truth, because the Bible says the truth will set you free. So here's the thing. I'm not telling you what to do with your style of dress and how you do your hair and this and that. But oftentimes I'm telling you what men will not say to their wives, but they will certainly tell it to their friends. And you wonder why he's looking at other women and this and that. Let me give you a clue. Now, you can do what you want with this information. For me, I just, as your brother, okay, as your brother, it's my job to tell you what's going on that your man won't tell you, okay? And I just want to save relationships, because this is what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of times women say, I don't know what happened to him. Why did he change? Let me tell you what happens with guys, okay? Let me tell you. When you changed your hairstyle and got that totally different, you just cut it all off. You had hair, and he was waking up and just stroking your hair. And then you just woke up one day because one of your coworkers or friends said, girl, you look cute with a short haircut. And you talked to your girlfriends about it, but you never even said anything to him about it. And then you go to the salon, baby, I'm finna go get my hair done. Oh, okay, go ahead, baby. And then you come back with a totally different type of hairstyle that is not even his flavor, but you went with it after a discussion with your girlfriends, but you didn't have a discussion with him. That turns him off. I'm just being honest. Now, again, I'm not telling you that every hairstyle you get has to be to his approval. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, here's something that you hear in relationships all the time. We have communication issues. Well, and everybody's saying the same thing. Well, the best relationships is the ones that have good communication. Well, baby girl, let me tell you, as your brother, did you talk? I understand you like the hairstyle that you saw on somebody else, and you talked to your girlfriends about it. Did you stop and talk to your man about it? Did you? No. Well, a lot of times here what happens. You got your hair chopped off, or you did this, or you came home with yellow in it and all this stuff because your girlfriend said it was okay. But what happens is you came home and trying to surprise him without talking to him about it. And then when he doesn't give you that positive feedback, now you're pissed at him. You're pissed at him because, he don't appreciate my changes. It ain't that he didn't appreciate your changes. It's just that you included your girlfriends in it who recommended it to you, but you're not married to them. You're married to him. So wouldn't it have been cool to, go ahead and invite him into this conversation? Why would you ask your girlfriends what's cool and not ask the person who you sleeping in the bed with? I hope that makes sense. Guys, let's flip it on you. Here's another thing about you, and this is me too. Guys, we want these sexy, beautiful women who I call them arm jury, because, when you're walking out, she's your beautiful bling bling in front of your boys. We be strutting, oh man, she hot, man, that's mine. Yeah, that's me right there. That's me right there. But sir, while you're expecting her to look beautiful, you ain't doing nothing to maintain yourself. You don't get no haircuts. You don't shower well. You dress sloppy. But you're expecting her to look like a dime piece when you're looking like a penny. Sir, that's not going to work. You have to be attractive to her too. I understand that people say men are visual creatures. Sir, I understand what the slogan is, but I don't go along with the slogan. Do you know that women are visual creatures too? Because when you stop being attractive to her, you better believe there's other guys in that office who's looking very attractive. They got the muscles popping through their shirt. They're trying to maintain themselves. And you coming home just assuming that you can look any old kind of way, smell any old kind of way, and touch on her, and it's not going to affect her. See, the problem is, and let me go back to what was said. Let me go back to what is attraction is ignited through appreciation and compassion. You're not showing appreciation for who you got on your arm, brother. So you want everything about her to cater to you, but you're not doing anything to cater to her eyeballs, to her passion, to her likes, her dislikes. Listen, this is a team sport, people. I cannot stress that enough. This is a team sport. Both people are important. Or you understand what I'm saying? If one person goes down, the other person goes down as well. So if you're making this relationship all about you and what's for you, and she got to look a certain way for you, and she ain't supporting my dreams, and you're self-absorbed. Are you looking for a spouse or are you looking for an employee? It's a big difference. Okay? Anyway, I hope this session today kind of helped out a bit. Next week is going to be retarded. Whoa, we got some big stuff to discuss. And I pray for Miss Nancy again. She wasn't feeling well today, so pray for her. Make sure so that we can send her that love so she can be back with me. Because I feel kind of naked, but without her not being by my side. But next week I really need her back because this is going to be some whoppers next week. Okay, some big ones. So tune back in. This is the Conflicts of Life. And by the way, I did a video yesterday, and I want you guys to check it out, okay? Please check that one out. It was a very important video on counseling, marriage counseling, because some people, they want to know, hey, we're having a rough patch in our relationship. Does counseling work? I promise you that you really, really need to watch that video before you put some money out on counseling, okay? I promise you, yesterday's video, play it. If you know somebody who's thinking about going to counseling, have them watch that video I did yesterday. Critical information, okay? Before you put $1 out on going to counseling, watch that video. All right, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. I'm going to go minister to, I said minister. I'm going to go take care of my wife. See you guys next week. All right, bye.